Vinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 verses 25 to 30.
Satta karmanya vidvamsah yatha kurvanti bharata kuryat vidvamsata sattah chikeshu loka sangraham na buddhi vedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam जोषयेत् सर्वकर्माणि विद्वान् युक्तः समाचरन् प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहङ्कारविमूढात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतिर्गुणसम्मूढाः सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत् मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा निराशीर्निर्ममो भूत्वा युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः.
So far we have seen about 24 shlokas in this chapter. So we have basically covered 3 topics. Topic 1, from verse 1 to 3, the introduction to path of action. And then from verse 4 to 19 is the logical appeal to Arjuna, intellectual appeal to act. Sri Krishna appeals to Arjuna intellectually, giving logic and reason as to why he should act. From 4 to 19. Then 20 to 24, emotional appeal to act. So in the beginning Arjuna is asking, if you consider knowledge superior than action, why are you forcing me to do the action? Then Sri Krishna explains why one should act. Because all of us have vasanas, we have to act. We are forced to act. Vasanas become thoughts, and thoughts become desires, and desires become actions, and actions again produces vasanas. So we need to act also and exhaust the vasanas and not create fresh vasanas. So as we reduce vasanas, we evolve spiritually. We need to fulfill the desire and be successful at the material level. At the same time, we should be reducing vasanas and evolving spiritually. So he says, you got to follow action. Whenever they say action, they mean unselfish, selfless action. They don't know what is selfish action. You understand? So therefore, he introduces the concept called yajna, which is selfless, dedicated activities. So he explained that the sattvic people do selfless activity. They dedicate it for the higher purpose, and whatever comes, they take it as prasad. Whereas the rajasic person acts purely for acquisition and enjoyment, for selfish reasons, and remains agitated. Whereas a tamasic person, he doesn't act. Whoever has acted and produced, from that he wants to partake. This is how a tamasic person functions. So he said, you got to follow the principle of yajna. Through yajna, Brahman has manifested itself as this universe. And through yajna, the individual has to realize the self within. Yajna is the fulcrum. In 14 and 15 shloka, he gave the agriculture metaphor, where he says, from Brahman comes Brahma. From Brahma comes what? Yajna. Right? From Brahma comes actually karma, sorry. From karma comes yajna. From yajna comes rain. From yajna comes rain. From rain comes food. From food comes beings. This is what he said. From Brahman, the creator, the vasanas have come about. From the vasanas, the activities come. Of all the activities, yajna activity is the supreme, which comes from activities. And from yajna activities come congenial mental climate. From that, productivity increases. And wherever there is productivity, there is being. Right? Also, there is another interesting interpretation for this shloka. From Brahman comes Brahma. They say Brahma is taken sometimes to mean Vedas. Vedas are 4 in number. Right? Brahmaji has 4 faces. And creation is not possible without knowledge. You can't create without knowledge. So the 4 phases of Brahma is taken to mean 4 Vedas. So what he's trying to say is, the Vedas, the Shastras have come from Bhagavan. You understand? I explained this to you. When any person, through karma, bhakti, jnana and meditation, finally in the deep state of meditation, dissolves the ego, what has happened? The vasanas are reduced. Then what has happened to that person? He or she has become God. So whatever comes through that person is not coming from that physical personality, from Mr. or Mrs. It's not coming from that personality. It is coming from divinity. Are you with me? Therefore, from Brahman comes Vedas. Okay? From Vedas, in Vedas, I spoke to you that there is Karma Kanda portion, Veda Purva, rituals. Vedanta is Vedanta. That is Upanishads, philosophy. So Veda Purva Bhag is what? Karma Kanda. So he says from Vedas come Karma Kanda portion. There Yajna is mentioned. Right? So from action comes Yajna. And when people do Yajna, I did mention that it does rain. There is tremendous belief, and also it does rain. And when rain comes, food comes, and food comes, life comes. So this is another interpretation. But at the end of the day, all he wants to say is, the world is evolved out of Brahman through Yajna. The beings in the world can realize Brahman through Yajna. So you got to catch hold of Yajna. When you do that, you reach perfection. When you reach perfection, you are dependent on nothing. You don't thereafter act for happiness, you thereafter act out of happiness, out of fullness. And when you are acting with knowledge and fullness, there is no negativity whatsoever. You will only be doing it for the welfare of the world. Right? So therefore he says, follow the action. And then he says, from 20 to 24, when he brings an emotional appeal to Arjuna, he uses 6 emotional appeals. First, he uses the devotion that Arjuna has for King Janaka and so many other people. So he says, look at these people like Janaka, man, to whom you have tremendous reverence. They also attain perfection through action only. Okay? So he is using devotion as a tool to inspire Arjuna to get into action emotionally. And then he is persuading Arjuna. You understand? You may not be personally interested in these actions, but for the welfare of the world. Loka sangrahame vapi. For the welfare of the world. You do that. That's persuasion. Then he says, you are a leader, Arjuna. He's kindling the vanity of Arjuna. And in that shloka, we are also given a very important leadership quality, which is to set the example. Right? Lead the way, not point the way. Yadyat acharati shreshtaha tat tat eva itara janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tat anuvartate. Whatever standard the leader sets, that alone the followers will follow. Therefore, you are a leader, Arjuna. People look up to you, so you better do. So he's kindling Arjuna's vanity by telling him that you are a leader, you better set the standard. Right? And then, if Arjuna turns back and asks, what about you? So Sri Krishna says, I also do. Right? I also do these actions. Though I have nothing that I want to achieve in these three worlds, waking, dream, deep sleep world, or whichever way you want to look at, physical, mental, intellectual. In all these three worlds, there is nothing that I am looking to achieve. So, why do I do? I do because it is obligatory. It is to be done with no prefix, no suffix. I told you in this context that Sri Krishna did not make any deal with Pandavas. No deal was made. His life is also at stake. When you are going on the battlefield, you are putting yourself in such a tremendous risk, right? And he is putting his life in risk, but no deal made. After supposing we win 50%, 25%, 30%, मेरे को आना चाहिए. कोई deal नहीं किया. You understand? Has to be done and doing. So personally he is appealing. I am also doing. So why don't you do? Right? And then he says, I know that as human beings, as beings, we all have choice. But once we have done the action, we don't have choice with reference to the consequence. So he brings in those consequences and then induces fear and threat in Arjuna. This is what will happen if you and me don't act. If I don't act, because people look up to me, and then they will follow me. Right? And there will be chaos. And he uses the word confusion of caste. I said that we will take up today. Right? So in 24 he says, these worlds would perish if I did not perform action. I should be the cause of confusion of caste. I should be the cause of confusion of caste means me choosing not to act would be the cause of confusion of caste and should destroy these people. Why he is saying this here, I explained to you. In the first chapter, Arjuna, when he is defending his stance not to act, he brings in this logic. He says, if we fight the battle, we will kill so many people, and from our side also so many people will get killed. Then when so many people are dead, the women become widowed. Right? The children will be suffering. There will be anarchy, chaos, this, that, confusion of caste, remarry. Pata nahi kya kya he will say. You understand? To justify his stance, not to fight. So he brings in that. Says confusion of caste will happen. So we need to understand how they envisaged the caste system as per the Vedas. Right? They designed this caste system based on gunas, not based on birth. You understand? Every human mind is made up of three gunas. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Balanced state of mind, disturbed, result-oriented state of mind, and then indolent, lazy state of mind. Three minds. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, respectively. And we are all a combination of all the three. In some Sattva is high, in some Rajas is high, in some Tamas is high. When Sattva predominates over Rajas and Tamas, you are called Brahmana. Why? When you are balanced, serene, calm, composed, you are capable of thinking. Understand? You are able to identify with the other person. You have love. You are capable of thinking. So you are more introverted in nature. So you can handle the scriptures. You will be inclined towards that as well, not towards the world, etc. So therefore, they said these set of people are Brahman class. When Sattva is high, then Rajas, then Tamas. If Rajas is very high, and then Sattva, then Tamas. The person is very active by nature. Therefore, that person will be suitable more for administration, war, all these kind of activities. So therefore they said he is a or she is a Kshatriya. She is suitable for that. Naturally they will be inclined towards that. Right? Sometimes if there is, supposing We are all doing something here and suddenly there is some problem. Immediately you will find somebody taking the leadership role. The person has in them. You understand? There are other people who are ready to take the orders and execute them. So that trait is there in that person. So he or she will do well if they take it up and do it unselfishly. They will also be happy. The others will also be happy. In that sense. Are you with me? So therefore they are suitable for being a Kshatriya. Then when Rajas is high and after that Tamas is the next and then comes Sattva. Then that person is more suitable for trading, agriculture, cattle rearing, etc. Meaning Vaishya. You understand? Commercial. Right? And then when a person is highly tamasic and then little rajas, very little sattva, that person is more comfortable taking instructions and following the instruction and doing. Now when they did this division of labor through the gunas, they never said anything superior and inferior. What was kept on a platter, unfortunately somebody kept on a ladder. As if somebody is superior, somebody is inferior. Nothing like that. In fact, in the 5th chapter, 18th shloka, in the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna himself says, a wise man views everyone equally. You understand? A wise man will view everyone equally. Nobody superior, nobody inferior. See, many years ago, the scavengers went on a strike, I believe, in the Mumbai city. And the city came to a standstill. Again, many years ago, in Tamil Nadu, the chief minister then, Dr. M.G. Ramachandran, was ill. And he had to be taken to US for treatment. So chief minister was taken to US, but the city continued, the state continued, run by the others. Right? Here the scavengers went on strike, city came for a standstill, to a standstill. Right? So now, will you say they are more superior, he is more superior, who is superior, who is inferior? Everybody has a role to play. That's why John Milton says, they also serve who stand and wait. So Milton says, they also serve who stand and wait. Everything is with a purpose. The hair inside your nose, you may think it has no purpose. It prevents the dust from going into your lungs. You understand? So therefore, nobody is superior, nobody is inferior. This has to be understood. But unfortunately, all this nonsense has come. That is why in the Vedanta treatise book that Swamiji has written, which I said is a very important book, he has written that in the today's context, this has to be abolished the way it is being practiced. As if somebody by birth is superior because he is XYZ. Nothing like that. You understand? So he says there will be creation of confusion of caste. Why? As a Kshatriya, if I don't do, right? Mother is not doing anything, father is not doing anything. Why should I do? Children will be accordingly. So he says there will be chaos. You understand? In the system. Therefore, the system has to go. Though I have come out of it, I have moved out of it through dissolving the vasanas. He said, no, a person who's reached perfection has nothing to do with what is done or what is yet to be done. But yet, the system has to continue. So, we do what is to be done with no prefix or suffix. This much we have seen. Let's continue. Now, there is a very important topic, verse 25 to 35, where he talks about the technique of right living. The technique of right living. Continue.
Satta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvams tatha sattaha chikishu loka sangraham.
He says, O Bharata is referred to Arjuna. As the ignorant act attached to action. The ignorant people who do not have this knowledge, right? who haven't got this knowledge, how do they act? He says, they are attached to action. They're terribly attached. Right? They are attached in whatever they are doing in this world. In every action, they are involved. They are attached to the results. Right? So should the wise one act. But unattached. Externally, if you see, it appears as if the wise person also is terribly attached. Right? But the wise person is not attached. The wise person is detached. What makes that person detached? See, whenever we use the word detach, you should immediately equate it to knowledge. Unless and until you gain the knowledge of the higher and establish in the higher, you cannot detach from the lower. Not possible. Not at all possible. Agree with me? When the fruit matures itself into a flower. When the flower matures itself into a fruit, the petals of a flower automatically fall away. But if you pluck the petals one by one, will it become fruit? But when it matures and becomes a fruit, automatically the petals fall away. Similarly, by gaining the knowledge of the higher and getting attached to that, you become detached from the lower. Right? We were all, once upon a time, playing with these monopoly games. Fake money. Right? And then, having grown up now, gained the knowledge, now you are playing with not monopoly money. The money that is valued by the Indian government. Right? Rupee. So, therefore, when you evolve to the higher, you get detached from the lower. So the wise man who's got the knowledge, he is not going to run away from the action. He becomes detached. I told you, the wise person understands what? That he is not the doer. That he is going to explain later on in this portion itself. Right? So therefore, the wise person doesn't get attached. Are you with me? Just does what to be done and moves on. And what is the one that is inspiring the wise person? He says, he does it wishing the welfare of the world. He does it wishing the welfare of the world. Now here, again, it's not as though the wise person is having a desire to serve the world. You understand? He understands. See, Swami Ramtirtha says, reforming the world is like straightening a dog's tail. Same thing Swami Vivekananda says, he just adds one more word to himself. He says, reforming the world is like straightening a dog's curly tail. So, how much ever you try to straighten it, the tail folds back. So, how much ever you reform, things will continue. There will be ups and downs, all this will go. But that doesn't mean you should not do your duty. Just because you clean every day, just because there is dust coming into the room every day, doesn't mean that you stop cleaning. You know very well, as you clean within 1 hour or 2 hours, there will be so much dirt coming in. But you still clean now. So like that, you've got to continue. The wise man is not attached. See, people buy the cars from the showroom. And the car, when the showroom delivers, the seat is covered with polythene. Right? And the bonnet, they have a ribbon, new one. And for a few months they drive with the ribbon. And few years maybe you are supposed to sit on that polythene. You understand? Why? Because you don't want the seat to get spoiled. And you want people to know that it's a new car, so that they'll keep some distance and not bang on your car. Why you want to get attached? And because of that, there is tremendous agitation. Like I said in one of the sessions here, because of that attachment, you don't enjoy. You don't allow anybody else to enjoy also. If somebody says, I'll tell you something. When Swamiji had come to the city in which I was lecturing many years ago, I had gone to the airport to pick him up. And as it is, we keep the car as clean as possible. But when Guru is coming, you want to clean it more. So I took to this place where they clean it thoroughly. And after cleaning, they put the paper there. Thanks for coming, something like that. They write and put a paper everywhere. And with that paper and all, I was taking the car to impress the Guru and all that. Swamiji came and sat, and this was bothering me. Hey, what is this? He took the paper and said, put it in the bin first thing. See, attachment. For that I am giving this example. A wise person has no attachment whatsoever, whether I am recognized, whether it is going to bring the fruit. Of course, the wise person has done everything that has to be done. Right? Everything that has to be done, but he or she is not attached. And they are not having desire to serve the world. I told you, when the negative is exposed to light, it cannot be developed. I gave an example, you remember? Film roll example. The olden days, that film roll, we used to take it, it's called negative, and give it to the studio fellows. And they will not expose it to the light, because if they expose it to light, it cannot be developed. So the negatives will not be developed once the negatives are exposed to light. Similarly, when a person is awakened to that Supreme, in that person there is only knowledge. There is no desire to serve the world, but without any desire to serve the world, spontaneously they will be serving the world only. Because negative nahi hai na. You get what I am saying? They are not wanting to go and serve the world. Then there is like ego, that I will serve, as if Lakshmi Narayan world is dependent upon. You understand? They are not having that kartrutva, nothing. They just do. And when the person has exposed himself or herself to light, knowledge of the self within, naturally it will be in the welfare of the world. That's all he's saying. They have no choice. In the sense, they will automatically be doing only for the welfare of the world. That's why in the Ramayana, in Tamil Kamba Ramayana, Kamban writes in one place, Aduvum Nandru. Aduvum Nandru means that is also for good only. It may apparently seem that why he is doing like this, but that person is doing for the welfare of the world. When the father is sometimes very strict with the child, like Shakespeare says, sometimes you have to be cruel only to be kind. Don't quote this quotation wrongly. You must quote this quotation with the word sometimes. Otherwise, every time you will be like that because you are cruel. You have no compassion. You have no love. So he says, sometimes you have to be cruel only to be kind. So he says, therefore, the wise one acts unattached, whereas the unwise acts completely attached. So then, what should you do? He explains. Continue.
Na buddhi vedam janahe ajnana karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yukta samacharan.
So he says, the wise man should let not the wise man unsettle the minds of the ignorant attached to action. Which means, after you go back from this Bhagavad Gita class, close your mouth and keep quiet. Immediately you'll go and give one lecture to everybody. Everybody will pretend sleeping by the time you reach home, whether they are really sleeping or not. When they hear you snore, they get up, because they are not really sleeping. Arey Baba, this fellow is coming back from Bhagavad Gita class, one gyan shuru ho jata hai. All the frustrations, he will put it on us. So he says, let not the wise man unsettle the minds of the ignorant, attached to action. Ignorant fellow doesn't know anything. Have you seen the child? Child doesn't know anything other than the toys. Right? The child is very much attached to the mother. And the mother has some very important work to do. So what the mother has to do? So what the mother will do is, nicely, she will give some other toy attractive to the child. And the child says, okay, one monkey beating the drums or something like that. And when the child sees that, the child gets attracted to that, leaves the mother. Right? So the ignorant needs something or the other to be attached. Because there is lack within. Therefore, they will be attached to something or the other. You understand? Psychologically. So, therefore, he says, you should not go and unsettle the minds of the ignorant. Because if you go and give them one lecture and you say, you do like this, you don't do like this, and when they do, they are not yet risen to the time. They will neither be here nor be there. They will be terrible. With me. One has to slowly rise to that level. You can't force a 5th standard boy to forcefully go and sit in the 9th standard class. Agree with me? He has to slowly move to the 9th standard. Yes, sir.
So then the question that strikes me is, then why would Krishna play on the mind of ignorant Arjuna?
No, he's not. He's explaining him, giving knowledge. He's giving knowledge.
Was the
He
ignorant-
only disagreed with him and he didn't say you have to do. He only disagreed. And then when Arjuna surrendered, he's giving knowledge. Arjuna asked, he didn't go and call Yudhishthira, Bhima, everybody please come and sit in the class. I'm giving you knowledge. Did he do that? Arjuna asked, he gave. Don't forget that Arjuna asked. He's a student. Are you with me? So, he is giving the knowledge because Arjuna asked. He is not talking to an ignorant forcefully. Is this clear?
Right, forcefully.
He is not giving it just like that one lecture. You understand? He is keeping quiet. He was only like a friend. Right? Only when he surrendered, then he gave the knowledge. So now he says, let not the wise man unsettle the minds of the ignorant attached to action. Then what should he do? Acting united with the self. Meaning acting united with the goal, the ultimate supreme which he has dissolved himself or herself. Let him render all actions attractive. Right? When that person functions meticulously with the principles, sacrificing for the higher cause, that inspires the ignorant. The ignorant is seeing. You understand? So, what we are doing is we are doing double fault, like we said before, You neither set example but give lecture. What he is saying is, set example, don't give lecture. They will be attracted. In fact, the best way to communicate is indirect, not direct. You saw the movie Tare Zameen Par? We have to cover certain shlokas till 8. But still, let me go a little bit into Tare Zameen Par and come back. That movie Tare Zameen Par, that boy who's the hero of the movie, has dyslexia. Right? And he is having complex because of that. And his teacher has gone on holiday, vacation, leave for some time. And a temporary teacher comes in, played by Amir Khan. Right? And Amir Khan understands that this person has this problem, this boy. And he in the class says, there are people who have had dyslexia who achieved many things, and then he is interested. And he looks at him and he says few movie stars' names and all that. Right? And then he says, here also there is a person who has dyslexia, who has overcome all that. He becomes worried. Maybe he's going to talk about him. Then he says, it's me. He's talking about himself. Indirect way of teaching, not direct way. You understand? Direct way, what happens is, immediately there will be one resistance. I am not like that. I am not telling like that. Understand? However close the person may be, immediately there will be a resistance. Therefore, he says, set the standards, don't give lecture. Right? Make it attractive, they will take it. This is what you are supposed to do. Continue.
So give an example, please.
I gave you. Amir Khan's character does that. Right? There are many. As a father, you are supposed to set the example of, if you want your child to wake up in the morning. In fact, it happened in one of my classes. One lady said, sir, I want my children to brush their teeth before going to bed. How do I make it? As if I'm a dentist or something. You understand? But she asked this question. I just like that casually, I thought she also brushes, and I asked, do you brush? She said no. I said, you first brush. Then they will brush. See, you have to set the standard, they will take it up automatically. The way, if you take care of your parents, they are seeing that. Are you with me? They are watching. Like I told you, video is more powerful than the audio. Video is more powerful than the audio. So by setting the standard, they take it up. Continue, please.
Prakrite kriyamānāni gunai karmāni sarvashah ahankara vimūಢātma kartāhamiti manyate.
So he said the wise people are unattached and the ignorant people are attached. Now he's explaining what he meant by saying ignorant people are attached. He's saying actions in all cases are performed by the gunas. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah. Actions in all cases are performed by gunas, qualities. As per our gunas we do action, isn't it? You have gunas, sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Whatever is predominant, accordingly you will be inclined. Isn't it? You will be inclined accordingly. Supposing, as a family, you are shifting from Mumbai to Chandigarh. Right? You are shifting. And you have come to Chandigarh now. And you have settled. What do? The father, who is a regular golf player, he is finding out where all the golf clubs are there, how I can get the membership, who are all playing, how can I make friendship with them. That is what he is thinking. Right? The mother may be thinking where the Bhagavad Gita class is going on here. Sometimes it happens actually. They ask us, people who are attending our sessions in the city, they ask, sir, I am going to that city. Is there any classes going on there? Right? Nowadays it has become a little online. So, no problem. But in-person class has more benefit than online. So, they say, sir, is there any classes going on? Any of your colleagues or anybody teaching there? Please tell us. They are interested in that. Because their gunas are like that. Right? If you are interested in something else, you find that. So, according to gunas, that's what he's saying. Actions in all cases are performed by the gunas of Prakriti, nature, vasanas. From vasanas come the mind, which has the gunas. So, and such people, what are they deluded by? Ignorant. Why they are ignorant? He says, one who is deluded by egoism thinks, I am the doer. They don't know that they are Atma, the self, which actually doesn't do anything. Gunas are functioning. See, electricity passes through various gadgets in your house. Right? Electricity is not doing anything. But when the electricity passes through the grinder, it grinds. When it passes through the bulb, it gives light. When it passes through the television, it shows the channels for you to view, telecast, all that. So the gadgets are doing according to their nature. Electricity is only enlivening. Similarly, the Atma is only enlivening, not doing anything. Are you with me? Therefore, when you have the knowledge, you know that you are not the doer. But when you do not know the truth, what do you think? I am the doer. And therefore you will be terribly attached. I am doing this. It must get the result. It must get the appreciation. It must take me that. It must result. Obsession. This obsession is a very big problem. You remember we spoke about the law. Attach you lose, detach you gain. So if you are obsessed, you lose the very fruit of the action. If you are obsessed and attached with your children, you will lose them. See, how much ever they may love you, right? If you are physically constantly sitting on their back, just imagine as if physically you are sitting on their back, saying, Papa, I love you so much, but 24 hours you are sitting on my back, I can't take you anymore, please get down. Won't they say that? So, but they don't know, they are ignorant, therefore they are attached. That's what he's saying. I am the doer. As if I am not there, my child will not go to school. That fellow goes 10 minutes before, the day you are not there. But the day you are there, he gets fed up the way you are doing. So that's what he's saying. I am the doer attitude is there in a attached person, ignorant person. Therefore they are functioning like that. Then how does a wise person do? What is that? Wise person has got what knowledge? That he explains in the next sloka, 28.
Tattva vittu mahabhaho गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणा गुणेषु वर्तन्ते इति मत्वा न सज्जते.
But he, O Mahabaho, Sri Krishna is addressing Arjuna as Mahabaho, mighty armed. Arjuna, you are a mighty armed person with the true insight into the distinctions of gunas and actions. See, a mighty person means one who has got tremendous knowledge, wisdom, right? So he's saying, Arjuna, you are a Mahabaho, you have the potential. He, O Mahabaho, with true insight. Tattvavit means true insight. Who's got the true knowledge, insight, not just information, right? But insight into the distinctions of gunas and actions. I explained to you already that how sattva, rajas, tamas, what they will be, etc. So that's what he's saying. He's got that knowledge, gunas and actions, how from vasana comes gunas, and then actions, how they will be attracted to that particular area of action, all that he understands. And gunas are only functioning, the self is only living, all this they know. That is called true insight. When, as they are acting, see in the Bhagavad Gita class we all know this. But the moment we get out of the Gita class, we get back to the previous condition. Why? In our case we have not got the true insight. We have only got the information. We haven't done the reflection. In the case of a realized soul, they have the true insight which is not lost in any condition. Whatever may be the external condition, it is not lost. Are you with me? Even in a worst situation, they have the knowledge. Not only in the classroom. So that Tattva-vet, he knows how the gunas are functioning and from that actions come. But the Atma is only a enlivening factor that I don't do. But the ignorant fellow doesn't know. And then he says, the Tattva-vet, wise man, knows what? Knowing that gunas as senses abide in gunas as object, he is not attached. In other words, guna guneshu vartante. This is a very famous line, very often quoted. What you see is, always you see gossip mongers, you will find them amongst gossip mongers. Birds of the same feather flock together. Right? Party goers, they will find amongst party goers. Vedanta fellows, they will find amongst Vedanta fellows. Right? The gunas will be attracted to that environment. In fact, as per your gunas, you are given an environment. Are you with me? This he understands. So the ignorant people will function like that. And he will be objective, not get involved. That is what he said. This is a very important trait of a wise person. Wise person should not be measured only in terms of knowledge. The wise person has the ability to two things. When you say wise person, mainly two things the person will have. One is objectivity, other is identification. Many times you find people saying they are objective, but they may not have identification. That is also not correct. Or you have identification but no objectivity. You get involved. Oh, my child is crying, I have to give. I identify with my child, but I don't have the objectivity. This is not good for the child. Therefore, I don't do. Or you are all the time dealing only logical, with no identification. But that's not the case with the wise person. Wise person understands. Poor fellow. He has got no knowledge of these things. Therefore, he is functioning like that. Are you with me? With that understanding, he identifies and remains objective and steers the action. That is what he says. Continue.
प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढाः सर्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविदो मन्दान् कृत्स्नविन्न विचालयेत्.
So, he said the wise should not unsettle the minds of the ignorant. Rather, the wise should set an example, make it attractive, rather than giving lecture. And why the ignorant is attached, he explained. Why the wise person is functioning like this, he explained. Now he's again repeating and concluding. He says, those deluded by gunas of prakriti, vasanas, nature, are attached to the functions of the gunas. They are terribly attached. If you are organizing a Gita lecture, you will be terribly attached. Why there is nobody coming? Why there is nobody coming? You know, I've seen Swamiji saying only one thing. He will discuss with you. He'll say, what efforts has gone in? He's only interested in the efforts. Karmaniyeva adhikaraha ma paleshu kadacha. You with me? If you were found to be lacking, not doing the effort, he will, he'll be telling you why you are doing like this, it's not correct, etc. Especially if you are his disciple or something. Otherwise he will not. Right? Now, if you have done the efforts, that's all you can do. Right? It so happened actually, in one of the lectures that we had organized in Delhi, unseasonal time in March, heavy rain came just 2 hours before that. Right? And also, they decided to revamp the old flyover nearby. So, a lot of people were avoiding the traffic. Are you with me? So, where after putting in efforts, maybe more people should have come, it didn't happen so. Are you with me? If you have not put in effort, that is wrong. But having put in effort, the result is not in your hands. So the wise person is not attached. But that is not the case with the ignorant fellow. He is attached. Vasanas, gunas, I'm doing. I have to be appreciated. What is the returns? Yeah, go, terribly invested in that. That is what he's saying. The attached to the functioning of the gunas. The one of perfect knowledge should not unsettle the dull-witted whose knowledge is imperfect. Just understand. They'll take time once they get the knowledge. So you've got to make it attractive. Then they will come to that knowledge. They'll take the knowledge, and once they have come to the knowledge, whenever that is, the knowledge serves as a radium passed in a cancer patient. You understand? Slowly it starts doing its work. That is why Swami Chinmandaji also encouraged people to start Balakendra, Baladeva, classes for children. Because at the childhood age, when you give them the values through stories and play and all that, it goes into them. Later on, they may get into Vedanta class, they may not get into Vedanta class, and they may go and start living their life in schools, colleges, and in their life. But whatever those values that they got in their system when they were small, that comes and pulls them back, helps them. Are you with me? So therefore, you should understand, you have to make it attractive and pull them towards the higher. And then things will be sorted out. That's all the wise man does. Now, having said all this, now he gets into the technique of right action. An ideal action. What it is. This shloka number 30 is called as the blueprint of right action. If we can understand that and put it into practice, we will be able to achieve success and peace. So let's chant that.
Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya-dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasva vigatajvaraha.
See, if possible, you try to memorize this. Otherwise it doesn't matter. It's not very difficult. Mayi sarvani karmani. Mayi means in me. Sarva means all. Karmani means actions. In me, all actions. Sanyasya means surrender, dedicate. So he says renouncing all actions in me. See, whenever a person like Sri Krishna or Jesus Christ, they are talking, they don't identify with the body-mind intellect complex. They identify with the Atma. So when he says, renounce all actions in me, what is he trying to say? Renounce all actions in the self. Are you with me? And renounce all actions in the self means higher goal. The highest goal is Brahman. whatever higher goal you can conceive of, your mind should surrender to that goal. That's what it means. Right? See, in this shloka, beautifully Swamiji has deciphered it, and then he explains us that an ideal action, right, encompasses two most important aspects. First and foremost, an ideal action will generate energy. Will generate energy. And secondly, it will avoid dissipation of energy. Right? It will generate energy and it will avoid dissipation of energy. And that is what he is explaining here. So, Mayi Sarvani Karmani, renouncing all actions in me. Mayi Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, renouncing all actions in me. Adhyatma Chetasa, the thoughts resting on the self. With thoughts resting on the self, with your buddhi established in the goal. Right? Buddhi setting the goal and mind surrendering to the goal. Then he says, Nirashi Nirmamo Bhutva Yudhyasva. The word Yudhyasva means what? Fight. You fight. So you fight. Right? Why is he saying fight? Fight doesn't mean you go back home and fight with each other. Fight everywhere. Fight is the duty Arjuna is supposed to do, the action in the context. So what he's saying, your body must dynamically act facing the challenges of life. So Yudhyasva here means dynamic action at the body level. All of us have three equipments: body, mind, intellect. So what he's saying is the first aspect where action should generate energy. When will it generate energy? When your intellect pitches up the goal, higher goal, and the mind surrenders to that goal. What do you mean by mind surrendering to that goal means? In Ramayana, Hanumanji had a mission. He was given that mission to cross the ocean and go to Mother Sita and give her confidence that all of us are coming with Ramji to save you, to destroy and protect you and all that. And as he's going, there's a huge mountain, Rakshasi, swells and tempting Hanumanji, right? Be here, enjoy the bounties of this mountain, everything is for you, just enjoy, right? Like sometimes it happens when we are taking a long flight to US, on the route we may go through London or something, you know, and they're announcing in London. The connecting flight is after 3-4 hours. They're announcing, sometimes maybe for whatever reasons. They're saying, if you don't fly in this connecting flight, we are giving you option to stay in London in the most prestigious 5-star hotel with all your bills paid, and you'll be taken to see the London city for 3 days, and then after 3 days you can fly. Something like, I just put little masala also. Okay. Something like that, they'll give you $300, $500. It happens sometimes. I don't know whether you experienced it. They announce. Maybe they're overbooked or whatever reason. You understand? So they announce like that. And you are going on a very important mission. Are you going to get tempted by that? You'll say, no, nothing doing. I'm going. You may give $1,000, $25,000, doesn't matter. It's a very important meeting, conference. I'm going to meet my son after 3-4 years. He needs my help. I'm not going to do this. Right? What is that? You are surrendering to the goal and not getting tempted by the offers, likes and dislikes. Like Jesus Christ also says, get thee behind me, Satan. I will have nothing from thy hands. Right? That's what Hanumanji said. And Hanumanji was also well versed in Vedas. So what he did is, instead of unnecessarily confronting Rakshasi, he said, see, I'm going on a very important mission, but at the same time, your offer is very tempting, and I don't want to disappoint you. But while coming back, I will have the, all this that you promised, I will come and enjoy. But now I am on a mission. So this is called surrendering to the goal. Are you with me? So, intellect pitches up a goal, mind surrenders to the goal, and the body acts dynamically in the goal, towards the goal. That's what. The greater the goal, the greater the energy. It generates energy. Why? Because what dissipates? Constantly thinking about yourself. You understand? All the time, 24/7 you're going on thinking about yourself. It dissipates your energy. When your attention is turned towards the higher, you have tremendous energy. And when the body becomes tired, you may go off to sleep, automatically like a child. But you are not mentally fatigued. Are you with me? That generates energy. Then the second part, which is avoiding dissipation. Right? So that is as nirashi, means hope. Hope should not be there. That doesn't mean you have to become hopeless. Right? What he's saying, hope means for the future, no? So he's saying there is no attachment to the future. Nirmama. Rashi, nirmama. Mamatvam. Ego. See, ego is nothing but memories of the past. Is it not? Pata me konu. Mera achievement kya kya hai? Kitna degree? All that you say, no? Ego. The mad fellow has lost the ego. That's why he has forgotten who he is. He will be talking, you feel as if he's normal. Suddenly he'll say, I'm having dinner with Prime Minister, time ho gaya. Understand? He's lost the memory. Are you with me? So ego means memories of the past. There is worries of the past, anxieties of the future, which are dissipating our energy. And there is one more thing that is dissipating our energy. What? He says, Yudhyasva vigata jwaraha. What is jwara? Jwara means excitement. I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do. Karna padega, karna padega, karna padega, karna padega. You understand? Everybody knows in the whole world that you are going to conduct one Gita class this evening. You understand? That kind of excitement in the present. So, worries of the past, anxieties of the future, excitement in the present, all these three dissipates our energy. Instead what? Your intellect should fix the goal, your mind surrenders, it becomes calm. Through the body you are prepared very well, learning from the past mistakes, planning for the future, preparing very well in the present, and not attached to the results. You simply plunge in the present action. Today's action grows to become tomorrow's success or failure. See, in my class, there was this classmate by the name Sabhapati. He's now become a doctor. Right? He's in US. He always plays with us during this lunch break and all that. You don't see him as if he's studying all the time. But he's a very brilliant boy. One day what happened, during half-yearly exams in 10th standard, it was science that day, the exam. You know, those days, they write the timetable on the board, you have to copy. You understand? There's no email being sent or WhatsApp message being sent like today. So, you have to copy. Sometimes when you copy, you may make mistakes, no? So, it was science exam on that day, so I had studied for science and gone. This fellow, just before exam, he sometimes refer the book. So, I'm having science book. He's coming with history and geography. I got a shock of my life. What? History and geography? This is science exam, why are you studying history and geography? He said, no, today is history and geography. And then I said, no, it's science. Right? Then we went and clarified with the other boys, they said it is science. I was saying, wow, lucky. You understand? And he said, Array, can we share the book and glance the book a little bit? There was only half an hour left. So we were doing that. And when the exam was over and when the results were announced, I was more interested in his results. Right? With taking a promise from you, I will tell what marks he scored, not mine. That is the promise. You should not ask my marks. Okay, science. 99 out of 100. No, you are breaking the promise. You are not a Dharmatma. So, the thing is, 99 out of 100, and then in the, I think, public exam, he scored 100 out of 100. No wonder he became a doctor. He's interested in science, and every subject, he listens to the teacher, understands, goes back and he'll play and all that he'll do. But there is a particular time in which he'll sit and study, right? And if he is not understood, next day he'll clarify. That's it. Now when the exam comes, he knows how to produce it. See, if you are memorizing, Memory is volatile. You understand? He is not memorizing, he is understood. He can reproduce it in his own language beautifully. Right? So, the person who is doing the duty correctly with no tension whatsoever automatically achieves success. Not dissipating the energy in the lower unproductive channels and focusing on the goal, doing the obligatory duty. No tension, nothing. Are you with me? So, your intellect should pitch a goal, mind should surrender to that goal, body must dynamically act in that goal with no worries of the past, anxieties of the future, or excitement in the present. That is possible only when you strengthen the buddhi, strengthen the intellect. Without strengthening the intellect, our intellects have fallen. We are all suffering. So we need to strengthen the buddhi. Right? So, there's a book Swamiji has written called The Fall of the Human Intellect. And also in the Bhagavad Gita, it talks about how a human being falls without strengthening the buddhi. It is extremely important. Strengthening the buddhi has very little to do with or nothing to do with just intelligence. Intelligence is different. Intellect is different. Intelligence may be an aspect of intellect, but intellect has the ability to control the mind. If you do not have the ability to control the mind, you don't have intellect. You may be a very highly knowledgeable person. I myself know personally few doctors who are, like for example, one is a oncologist and another one is a heart specialist, cardiologist. They both smoke heavily. Do you have to go and tell them how bad cigarette is for the heart? And it can cause cancer and all that. Do you have to tell them? They know better than you. They are seeing the oncologist is every day seeing cancer patients. Right? But he is not able to control his habit of smoking. So what is happening there? Intelligence is there, but intellect is not there. Are you with me? We need to strengthen the buddhi. When you strengthen the buddhi, then the buddhi will let your mind go to the past to learn purpose only, which happens in the present. When the mind by itself goes to the past, it dissipates energy. But when the mind is made to go to the past in the present, it doesn't dissipate energy. That is learning from the past. Okay? When the mind by itself goes to the future, like you are sitting and daydreaming, it dissipates energy. But when the mind is made to go to the future through proper planning, etc. This morning we had a lecture in the Department of Urban Planning. No? It's called Department of Urban Planning. Right? If the urban planning and all is not there, what will happen to us? Right? So planning is not, Sri Krishna is not saying don't plan. Arey, what is this? Nirashi, Nirmama, no future, no. People misunderstand. Therefore I am explaining. Right? In the present, intellect is taking the mind to the future. That is planning. The planning is done. Learn from the past is done. You are prepared in the present. No excitement, just simply go deliver. Just go and do what ought to be done, like Sabhapati. Understand? Like that fellow. Just do. Are you with me? So that's what he says. Then the energy doesn't get dissipated. You will automatically succeed. This is the secret of success. This is the ideal action. Gita is telling us how to act ideally. The blueprint of right action. Yet we want to study Gita after 60, 70. When we can hardly do any action. Right? So therefore we must understand that Gita is to be studied and then start living the life. As early as possible, we got to gain this knowledge. So this is a very beautiful shloka. Mayi sarvani karmani sanyasya. Mind should surrender to the goal. Adhyatma chetasa. Intellect should pitch the goal. Yudyasva. Body should act dynamically. Right? Nirashir. No anxiety for the future. Nirmama, no worries of the past. Vikata jvaraha, no excitement in the present. That's all. Right? That's why I said if you little bit put in effort and memorize this shloka, wherever you are, you can be thinking about it and then you can slowly bring that into your daily living. Continue.
ये मे मतमिदं नित्यम् अनुतिष्ठन्ति मानवाः श्रद्धावन्तो न सूयन्तः मुच्यन्ते तेऽपि कर्मभिः
matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Those men who constantly practice this, nityam anutishtanti manavaha. Those people, those men who constantly practice this teaching of mine. Eme matam. See, the word matam means opinion. Right? Matam means opinion. The philosophy is not an opinion of one person. It is giving the eternal truths. Right? But here Sri Krishna calls it as opinion. Why? Because he said no, Jnana Yogena Sankyanam, Karma Yogena Yogina. So whatever I am telling now is for people who are active. It is not for everyone. In that sense, it's an opinion for few people. Because opinion is given by a person to a set of people at a particular time for a particular purpose. In that sense, he says it's an opinion of mine. But it is also full of logic and reason. So he says those men who constantly practice this teaching of mine. Not those men who only talks about it. Those men who have only heard this. That is not going to work. If you put that into practice constantly, continuously, full of Shraddha. This word Shraddha generally is translated as faith. Right? But Shraddha is not just faith. It is, Adi Shankara says, faith in the words of the Guru and Shastra. That is Shraddha. What he means by that is, Shraddha also is an intellectual discipline. It's not just an emotional faith. You with me? Your intellect puts in efforts and reflects upon what you have heard from the Guru or the Shastra. Right? And then digest the knowledge till you bring about the transformation in you. That is called Shraddha. So what is Shraddha? Shraddha is faith plus conviction plus consistency till you bring about transformation. Otherwise, your faith is only skin deep. I believe in Krishna. Right? But I have not read Bhagavad Gita. I have no intention to read Gita also. See, the word Shraddha, if to understand it better, I will give you one story. I told, no, during drought, they conduct yajna to bring in rain. So in a kingdom, there was drought for many years. So they decided to conduct yajna. They called the priest and said, we need to conduct yajna. Please tell the appropriate date and time and all that. We will make all the arrangements, the king said. And the priest gave the date and everything. And he said, we'll start on this day, this time. Do it on the seashore. We'll do. So the king said, okay, we'll make all the arrangements. He said, I will start the yajna on that day. Only if I see at least one faithful heart. One faithful person who genuinely believes in yajna, bringing rain. Okay? So the king said, I myself believe, that's why I call this priest. What has happened to this guy? He's gone mad or something? So he said, okay, tika, we'll do it. And he organized everything. So many people came and they expected the priest to start the yajna, but the priest was not starting the yajna. Because according to him, he has not found one faithful person. Okay. So king understood that. So they are waiting for some faithful person to walk in so that the priest will start the yajna. Then suddenly after half an hour or so, the priest says, let's start. Everybody is wondering and they're turning towards the entrance. What is happening there is one very old lady coming with an umbrella. You are doing the yajna believing that rain will come. But have you brought the umbrella? Raincoat? Nothing you brought. That means what? You really do not have Shraddha. Shraddha means if I practice this transformation will come. That conviction, that belief, that intellectual conviction which comes through intellectual reflection, which makes you go on putting that effort till you bring about that transformation. So with that Shraddha, full of Shraddha, when a person practices this constantly, consistently, and without cavilling. Cavilling means criticizing, making fun of it, taking it very light, casual, not being very serious. They too are liberated from actions. So what he's saying is, even they will be freeing their vasanas from actions. See, I told you always, liberating from action means two things you should understand. One is you become free from. Why are you so slowly saying? Vasanas. Right? You get free from vasanas. Because action comes from desire. Desire comes from thought. Thought from vasanas. So you become free from action means free from vasanas. Number one. Number two, you become free from action means you become free from the doership. Explain this to you in one of the classes. Doership, you will become free. As a result, you will become free from karma. To become free from karma, that bondage, action producing result, pap or punya, if you want to become free from it, the kartritva should go. What we are doing is, we are dropping the action, kartritva pakadke. That's what Arjuna did in the first chapter. Sri Krishna is saying, kartritva ko chodo, action ko continue. You getting it? So you become liberated if you understand this and follow. What was said in verse 30? Technique of right action. If you follow that, then you will become free. Otherwise, you will be finished. One more.
ये वेतदभ्यसूयन्तः नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतम् सर्वज्ञानविमूढांस्तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः.
But those who carp, the question is, okay, if a fellow is carping and is not following this, what happens to that fellow? He is telling what will be the consequence. He says, but those who carp at this teaching of mine, what I spoke till now, especially in 30, and do not practice it, do not put it into practice, deluded in all knowledge and senseless, meaning they don't have clarity, they don't have buddhi, they've lost the buddhi, they don't have wisdom, know them to be ruined. Told you already, if you are not consciously directing your energies towards the higher, what will happen to the mind? It naturally starts flowing downwards and gets dissipated. When it rains, there are periods where every city draws rain, mostly, right? And there are places where it's low lying, so you make it a lake or a pond or whatever, right? You got to understand how the law works. This is how it is, right? If you build houses in the place where the lake was there because it's dry, obviously when it rains it gets flooded. Agree with me? That's what we have done in many places. Most of the floods are man-made. Agree with me? And when the water comes, when it rains, you could have done many things, but naturally you will go towards that area. There are certain places where the road is called Lake View Road, but there is no lake only there. The road is called Lake View. But sitting in the balcony thinking that you will view the lake, there is no lake only. Your house itself is built on the lake. So this nature is not going to understand. When it rains, nature will say, oh, they have built a Lake View Road, so many people are living, so I must go uphill. Pani will go uphill or what? It will naturally go downhill only. So it will go towards those areas. Obviously it will get flooded. So if you don't adhere to the laws, you will be ruined. That is what he is saying. You will be ruined because buddhiless, senseless you are functioning. Sarvajnana vimudhatma. You are a totally deluded person. Therefore, know them to be ruined. Ruined means they will be increasing more and more vasanas. They will be mechanically caught in the same rut. Again and again, they will be functioning the same way, gathering more and more vasanas and agitations. That's what it means. So tomorrow, we'll take up the rest of the shlokas. And again, like I said, tomorrow we have a very important shloka coming up, which is verse number 35. It talks about Swadharma, Paradharma and all that. And then he gets on to the impediments to right action. Now he's talking technique of right action. Then he gets on to impediments to right action. Then he gets on to how to overcome those impediments. That beautiful concluding portion we'll do tomorrow. Let's conclude. Om Purnamada पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति